It's the Solar One Sci-Fi podcast.
Hello and welcome to this week's monotonous episode of the Solar One Sci-Fi podcast. I'm back, unfortunately, with my beloved co-host, who's wearing the same fucking t-shirt as me. The same fucking t-shirt. I don't know what's going on here, but
I don't know what's going on there. That's a bit
the
bizarre.
t-shirts are $15.99 in our store.
Yes,
if you're interested.
exactly,
Also,
yeah.
if you'd like to donate a tenner, we will get pissed.
Absolutely.
And I'd like to introduce my co-host from. Where the fuck is that in the background? A lot of boats and you and an astronaut. So I'd like to present my co-host, Michael Ball, aka Cokeland. And where is that in the background?
All right. Hello, Martin. Nice to see you. This is actually, it was an Isle of Wight webcam, which I got yesterday because we're having the most gorgeous summer in the UK.
Yep.
And I thought, well, look, as it's so nice outside, and of course you see Portsmouth in the background, which is where I live. So it's kind of like it's a nearby webcam, and I do sometimes like. And obviously, if you listen to this audio, you won't give a damn about the webcam in the background. So I apologise for that, but it's just one of those visual aspects I like to do from time to time. So yeah, gorgeous weather. Hose pipe bans are going on over here now. Heat wave again, building up again. Some people loathe the hot weather. I adore it. So it's just kind of like we all react differently to different things. Give me summer over winter any day. So how are things with you in your fair part of London City, as it were? How are you?
How am I today? It's the
Hot.
background's gone wrong.
Yeah, what's that? What's that?
Well, it was an invaders, but you can't see the UFO. So I've got that.
That's all right.
Coming
It's
to you
okay.
by the power of special effects.
I think I say by the power of Grayskull then, for some reason. I don't know why.
No, it's no, it's wonderful. I love this weather personally.
Yeah, it's great, isn't it?
I love it.
Makes such a difference, and apparently it's going to continue at least for another few days. Oh, here we are. You got the wallpaper, which is on the T-shirt now, which I designed.
Yes.
So it's all going on this week. Lots of visual aspects of this show. Before we obviously came on here, we were talking about news and stuff which has been going on, and I think the only news really, it's more of a review of obviously the Orville has now finished season 3. Episode 10 was released last week. We've obviously both seen it, so before we go into our focus of the week, what did you think of the last episode?
I thought it was the best one yet. I thought it was very intelligent how they went into the whole Prime Directive question.
Mm-hmm.
I found that the more interesting aspect. The rest of it were comedy.
Yeah, a lot more
but
comedy.
They
The most
finished
comedic
it.
episode.
If it's not getting remade, I found they finished it in a beautiful way.
Almost full circle.
Yeah, we've gone full circle, but a
that's
fourth
the way I saw it.
season,
Yeah.
they will have to reinvent the whole thing now because they've closed the arcs off.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny because when the Orville started, it was very much more of almost like a Star Trek parody. It had a lot more
Yes,
comedy value, and it soon settled down in season 2. I personally think the balance between comedy and science fiction in season 2 was the best. Season 3 was more like a standard drama with a tiny peppering of comedy mixed in. But this last episode, the comedy was quite prevalent. It was quite forefront. And it really made me laugh. Bortus at one point was Elvis, I think he was. And there was just a lot of funny scenes. I can't remember the character's name, but the one, Ilara, is it? The one that's left in season 2 because gravity was, she
Turned up at end, didn't
that
she?
was a nice return to see her character. And it's strange because I was expecting more of a sort of like a big battle season finale. We had that last week, and I've heard one or two people saying in some ways it might have been. I don't agree with this myself, but some people were thinking it'd be more likely that this, not lighter but more of a less intense episode, would be more likely to have been last week, where the big battle episode would have been this week. I personally think that the way they did it worked out really well.
Yep, I agree.
Because last week with the space battles, it was literally one of the most visual things I think I've ever seen in TV. This includes all the Star Treks, the Stargates, all the other shows that we follow, and it was just so massive. So this week was nice to see it's kind of like resolving a lot of things that we said. So I don't know how big this will be on when it goes to Disney Plus. Obviously, Disney Plus is a very, very good place for it to get well known and
Yep.
get interest. So it's got a chance. If it really takes off there, then I can't see why they can't do something where they return for a fourth season. All the actors want to be involved. The only problem is that the contracts are finished. They're now doing other, they're working on different shows, different things. So it's going to make it harder for them to get together and return. But it doesn't mean it's not possible. You know, you get like the Star Trek films, they do all return for those.
I thought it was funny when Clyden invited Isaac invited the primary to win the entire planet.
Yeah, and suddenly they just materialize. It's not like
All of them.
Yeah, the whole thing, and I like the fact that Isaac's people of the is it not the Kelvins? What they call what's his race called again? I can't remember the name. Kalon, that's it. I like the fact that they've really evolved and they kind of understand more biological life.
Well, what Bradley said, will you be enslaved?
Yeah, I wasn't sure. Yes,
going, no, it don't work that way.
No. And Isaac really is the bridge between the two respective biological and technological aspects of the show.
I think Isaac does have feelings. I think he does. I think
he's learned what they are, and he's trying to imitate them.
I think he genuinely. I think it's in there.
Yeah.
Because he saved the kid in the second season. He took their side. I don't think it's fully, but there's like an instinct. It's there. And I think he's into her when he said so. He said, even after you're dead, I will look after your kids and all your families. And I mean, you just don't say it.
Because no, that's what makes him so funny. I mean, he's definitely obviously most of the Star Trek series have the human condition character, the observer of humanity, and of course.
But what I found interesting about this, when they went in Star Trek, you never got explained that why they didn't need money.
Yes. Yeah, they gave a very good. I remember that. Something else.
Do you remember
yes. In First Contact, they said that the whole idea is to better yourself.
Yep, fair enough.
To achieve. Yep. And this one, it was showing more things like achievement through things like
commonality.
Work. Yeah, and it was a slightly different. But to me, it was quite a clever.
Well, it answered the question analysis, which Star Trek never answered.
Yeah. Exactly.
And I thought that was genius, because what it was when she wanted to go home, because I thought, was she there just to try and get some technology and go back to her planet? And when they caught her, because she kept asking, you've got all this, then why haven't you turned up on our world and given it to us? And we never got it answered, and she kept going on about that, and it was freaking her out, saying, call it a freak anybody out.
Sure.
But they obviously they were evolved, they were better than And then when she tried taking that tablet with all that knowledge on it, which would have advanced her species centuries ahead of its time.
Yeah.
She took her to that simulation and said, a couple of centuries ago we went to this world and they were just like you, and we gave them technology.
It turns out it destroyed itself. Yeah.
They destroyed themselves.
Yeah,
and it really freaked her, and it was like, it wasn't her fault. She was trying to do right by her people. I get that, but it was the lesson saying your people have to get there, and
naturally rather than artificially. Yes, it's going to be a natural
and she
thing,
said the problem is that with this technology there'll be some that'll hoard it for themselves and try to exploit it, and we can't allow that. And Star Trek never answered that, and they did. They did in this. Yeah,
they did. I mean obviously with Star Trek we had different sort of parallels. We had, of course, the Third World War, the eugenics wars. We had some really bad dark times.
It was a long time before they got there,
but it was only after the World War III that the nations started to come together.
Well, they had no choice.
No, because otherwise they'd obliterate themselves. And that's the whole.
Basically.
But it was very clever. And I have to ask you a question though. Which did you prefer, season 3 of the Orville or Star Trek: Strange New Worlds season 1? That's a tough one.
That's a tough one. I have to say, Star Trek Strange New World, I am a big fan of. But if you wanted to get a 100% feeling towards the Star Trek series, the Orville nails it.
It's still slightly ahead of the.
I have to say that I apologise, but it does.
Do.
I felt like this season, a lot of things have been answered this season. A lot of moral.
Yeah.
The things have set out have been very clever.
Mm-hmm.
And even with her from that planet where they're all voting in its horrible place, even that question got answered. And I have to say, for me, this was the best episode of the series.
Really?
On an intellectual, intellectual level, not action based battles.
Yeah, it's specific part of it. Yeah, I should say.
In all the years I watched the Next Gen stuff, they went on about Picard going about bettering himself. We don't need money and all. Never answered or explained it. In this, they answered that question.
And a very clever way they did it. Yeah, it's a very clever way they did it as well.
I feel that the Orville is more Star Trek than Star Trek. It is Star Trek, but Strange New Worlds is awesome.
Oh no, but this is not us having it. We love Strange New Worlds.
But I find that the Orville is it's like the Next Generation.
But
basically.
in Strange New Worlds' defense, the Orville, especially the first half of season 1, it needed to settle down a bit. I think that Strange New Worlds season 2 will be even better than season 1, and I think that it's don't get me wrong, a fantastic first season. Yeah. Of course, the Orville is already into season 3, so they're a lot more settled and they're not much more aware of what they can do. But yeah, whatever. I mean, they're both great series. They're both very, very enjoyable.
Yeah, but Orville's very it is Star Trek. I mean, it is what.
Oh, it is.
You know, the one thing you say, I've got issues with warp thing in Star Trek now.
Oh, have you? What's that?
Well, no, you know, it's just like a bright light and you know, it's not like when you used to get all them like beams around the ship. When the Orville goes to warp speed, it's like warp the Next speed. Generation.
Now, this is what's annoying.
And I love all that. I want that back in Star Trek.
The warp speed was obviously in the original series, and then when the Next Generation had warp speed, it had this lovely flyby where the stars sort of go in like a line, and it's black, and that was taken. That was transferred to DS9. That was transferred exactly the same to Voyager. That was transferred exactly the same to Enterprise. And the movies, the subsequent movies after the original. And then Discovery came along, and it's almost like a sort of like hallucinogenic sort of visual nightmare of warp speed. It's kind of like white, and it's almost like it's almost like it's almost like the opening credits of a Doctor Who series. It's not right.
But the Orville
are doing the exact warp speeds, the warp stars. Why
That's right. I'm watching it today. I think when I watched it.
I thought that. I know it's really.
And I love how the ship, when it's in warp, it's like that. It's like, you know, when
also,
it's like...
this is one thing. I know it's not a big thing, but this is one thing which they keep not doing on the new series. All the previous shows of Star Trek and the Orville, they have stock shots. You have the regular flybys.
That's standard.
Every episode, and they have not done that on Discovery, Picard, which is obviously a different thing, and Strange New Worlds. I know it sounds really petty. I like the stock shot. I like the Enterprise going by the same view, but it's like a different planet, and it's reused it and reused it. The same shots going to warp, Next Gen, all those redo it. They don't do that on the new shows. It's always it's always new shots, and because every shot is new, you get less spaceship exterior shots. The Orville has so many exterior shots because, to me, an important part of these shows is the ship. I don't know why. I love the ships of these. I'm definitely a ship geek, I mean, Strange New Worlds has got the most exterior shots. The Discovery, you'll be lucky if you see one shot of the ship per episode in a lot of episodes. Picard, of course, is a bit different because they're on Earth in the 21st century. But can we just have some regular shots of the ship flying by, mix them in with scenes? That is one thing that I know it sounds really petty, but they need to have that back.
I totally support that.
Get warp speed back again. I want to see warp speed, which we've seen in 4 Star Trek series for over 20 years, 18 years, I think it was. Bring it back. I know it's daft, but let's have the warp back. That is what warp is. Daft. Don't know what I can do that.
Have you? There is something that's been doing the rounds on the internet. I'm going to go into Predator Prey in a minute.
Oh, great! I want to hear about that. But go on.
Yeah. Eagle Moss. I don't know if you know who they are.
Oh, I know all about it. Apparently, the company is in dire straits. Now, I've never bought these models, but I've seen them reviewed, and they look absolutely gorgeous. And it's just something I've not got around to getting. I've 3D printed some stuff, but it's obviously not as good as what they do. And apparently, they are in a few financial woes. I think is it a British company?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
So tell me what you've heard about it your end.
Well, I've got a couple of the ships. I never subscribe; just pick them up when I,
Yeah, because they're still on sale.
I'm not. I don't want to be subscribing to that every fortnight because I've got nowhere to put them.
Yeah, me neither.
But I managed. I got all the Eagles of Space 19.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Because it's not just Star Trek.
Luckily, I got the last one to release, so I'm quite happy because they're going to go up now.
Because they're going to go up. Yeah.
The company's gone bust. I was watching a couple of videos. Did you remember when they released the Star Trek Enterprise D build for the next generation?
I know something of it, but I don't know specifically about it.
Well, it is a bit of a con because what it is like you've got the Back to the Future. What is it, DeLorean? Mm-hmm. Well, these kits. I mean, obviously, when they're built, they look amazing. Right?
Yeah,
like sure. They're really big, but you right. I've never really gone down the path of all this,
right?
But I was watching a couple of people on YouTube and they're really pissed because it's like they say they bought a DeLorean, like it takes you 2 years or 2.5 years to acquire every part, so you're paying 12, 10 quid every
I didn't know about all this. You don't
just get it as a big model.
I didn't know that.
These things are about 1.5 foot big. I mean, they're massive.
Yeah, I know they're big. Right.
And the detail is superb. Well, let's go with Enterprise, the Galaxy class. So that came out about a year and something. It's 2.5 years, and you're paying. I think it's 10 or 12 quid a fortnight, and after 2.5 years, it's like
a lot of money. That's
like they send you a bag of screws and a piece of plastic, and then you put it in a box. And
I didn't know about this. I thought they were always just.
Well, no, you don't know because the full price of these models are about $2,000.
And that's why
over 2 years, like 1,500 quid, or because this guy in America, he would build the Galaxy class. Now he's got almost at saucer section, and won the cell.
That's good.
Right. And he's turned around and said, I'm never going to get rest of it, and basically this, it's going to cost me $2,000. Let this bloody thing and build it.
Oh, fuck that.
And there's not just that, there's all these other sort of things. They do other stuff. There's not just like there's the DeLorean. I think they did the James Bond DB7 and all these like things. So you buy these magazines every 2 weeks.
Yeah, okay.
So you can't. Well, you build it as you go along. So 1 month you might get a big piece of it, like a bit of plastic, and then you get a load of screws and some wires But by the time you've finished, this thing's going to cost you 1,500 quid.
Oh.
I can't. A lot of people are pissed about,
Well,
I really sympathise because I saw this guy in this country. He got one of them, and he's never going to complete it. And he spent about nearly 600-700 quid on what he's bought, and he's on like a third way through. Could you buy it now? For me, I could not buy a magazine every 2 weeks for 2 years waiting to build. So I'd rather just go out and pay for the bloody model kit, and either get a friend to do it or do it myself. Because some people don't. I'm not knocking it. It's like that dear Augustine thing. They do it. The release things, like there was a Terminator that got released.
Right.
And it looks stunning. I think it stands nearly 2 foot. But if you're gonna buy it, it's gonna take 2 years to get all bloody parts.
Stop that. No, I mean I've seen it.
Now it does look good. It does.
Yeah, I know. But come on. I mean,
sit there for 2 fucking years, man.
No, that's crazy. I mean, I've seen the models that they release where you just buy them and they're not big, but they're good. They're fair size.
Yeah. Now
they're lovely detail. I don't mind those. I didn't know about this bit.
That's the collection range because amongst the Star Trek, they do some of the best stuff.
Stargate,
especially the big 10-inch ships. They are stunning.
Yeah.
But there's no more. I know it's gone into administration, so I don't know. I mean, I bought the odd one. I've never really gone into subscribing to stuff and
No.
having that coming through door every 2 weeks, and costing far more than you know.
Well, it's filtered through, isn't it? It's very slowly trickling the money away, and then that's why they do it. But I wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
I would never do that. I mean,
but they've gone under. They've gone under, and they're into administration.
So why do you think they've gone under? What do you think?
I think it was the pandemic. Well, what's the video guy talks about? It was the pandemic.
Okay.
I think he was saying it was pandemic.
Do you think it's also part of the economy and the fact that people are going to have less money to spend?
I think so, yeah.
Well? It's a combination.
And I think they probably overspent on so many projects, getting it out there and.
Well, I don't think there's filtering this thing, the 2-year thing.
Their customer service is diabolical. Apparently, it's really bad. Yeah.
And obviously, we're just sort of reporting this. We're not actually directly saying that this is from our own perspectives.
No,
we're just saying we're hearing from this. So,
Eagle
Moss, if you're watching, we're not doing a personal accusation. We're just talking about information that we've
send
heard
them send people the parts or give them
send them
money
the part
back.
Exactly. Because there should be some way where if you're subscribed and they know that they've sent you, say, I don't know, 6 months worth of bits, that they should have some obligation or some offer of some way to at least finish off what you partly paid for the project. So I hope that it gets resolved. I hope that Eagle Moss can have somebody to get them out of trouble. Where's Paramount? What are Paramount doing about it? Because they're the copyright owners.
Oh, I don't know. It's
I also, I'm going to give a shout out to a YouTuber guy called Sci-Fi. Australian. I love his. He's always giving updates on the latest episodes of Star Trek, the Orville, and stuff like that. And he has got his own T-shirt range. I've never purchased his T-shirt. Yeah, exactly this. But what he does is he's a bit like me. He's a Photoshopper, and he uses kind of like icons from Star Trek. But he doesn't physically take their material, and so you'll have like a silhouette of a captain and not have the face, but you'll recognize it as like Scott Bakula or Patrick Stewart. And apparently Paramount or some bot has got in touch, reported him, and he's now no longer to sell products because of copyright issue. So I'm really surprised that Paramount, in the end you get these bots, they've got these things that go online, they visually they can connect stuff and they can say, well, this is with the copyright thing, even though that your work is yours, it also is integral to our product, our licensing laws, so you can't use it. So I'm hoping he can find a way around it, because in the end it's just a big sci-fi.
Well, I don't want to name names, but I watch a couple of YouTubers that talk a lot about Star Wars. And they sell their own T-shirts and stuff, and they sort of use the images but alter them.
Yeah, this is what this sci-fi.
And they seem to be getting away with it. Like the bill.
I think some people do. I think you've got a bit more leeway with Star Wars. Like in Star Wars, you get the reviews, like the Andor trailer, which has recently come out. You can have a reaction to that. You can't have a reaction to Star Trek: Strange New Worlds Season 2 for a trailer when it comes out. You won't see that online. Yeah. Because Paramount, from what I've seen, that Paramount and Disney are quite different in respect to their licensing laws, and they say it's their intellectual property, I think is the term.
Yeah.
They so like I said, if Sci-Fi can maybe do something which isn't, but he's a Star Trek fan, so I could understand. And you really, YouTube, you can't really make money out of it. I've tried. It's copy. I mean, I've had this myself. I can't monetize on my channel. 101,000 subs, and I'd love to make a bit of money, especially at the moment with all that's going on in my personal life. But No, I mean, only the really, really lucky people can actually make anything out of YouTube.
Well, I suppose, I mean, there's a lot of the YouTube sci-fi commentators, right wingers and left wingers. They use Patreon and
yeah, I
stuff
thought
like
about that.
But,
I haven't got the time to set up.
no,
I've
but
tried
I'm
it,
thinking once you go down that path, you are beholden to people. There's you've got to
and
create
then really because it's
loads
more of a job. It's less of a kind of hobby. It's more of it's almost like an employment.
Yeah, there was something interesting. There was something I came across. There was a YouTuber who has a lot of live streams. I've spoken to her on and off over years. Can't go on now because when you you can watch it, but you can't talk to her. So I'm thinking, well, why can't I talk to her?
that?
And I noticed that what she's set up is on her YouTube page. Now she's only got a couple of thousand subscribers, but what
Right.
she's done is, if you want to talk to her, on her live stream, you've got to join. She has the joining thing, and then there's free payment thing.
I've seen that.
So say me and you did a live stream like twice a week, and we are and people could normally if we did it, people could just come on and talk to us, right? Or we have a panel.
Sure.
Now some people, what you can do is you can set up this join thing, and you can charge $1.99 a month to come on and talk to you. And she had 3 different price levels. And $8.99 a month, you got these tier things where you'll get private and all this. And I was like, well, when did this start? So say you and me did a live stream, we could set up a join button and start charging people. I mean, this is where we're at now.
I've seen it. I've never. I mean, like I said,
I've never.
No, I mean, it's kind of it's the environment. I mean, it's getting like that now. With regard to these different aspects, you can also give it a thanks. There's a thanks button where you can give a thanks. So there are these different aspects. So it's just a changing world. I mean, like I said, we don't do this to make money. We do this because we like the genre. But
if you'd like to buy our t-shirts, they are £450. And Michael will drink an entire bottle of vodka for a £5. And it will be an interesting show.
Yeah, what should we call it? Solar, the Solar One Squiffy podcast.
Yeah. And if you want to join our channel, it will be £600 a year, and you'll get exclusive benefits.
And you'll get 3 minutes of extra footage from us.
And a signed photograph for £25.
Yeah.
And so please sign up.
Exactly. Now, before we go into our focus of the week, because we've got another 10 minutes before we got to reset our.
Well, I think we should call out now and then come back on.
All right. Let's come back, and then when we come back,
we can go Klaatu Baradanixta all the way.
And then once we've done that, we'll quickly discuss Prey as well before we finish the show tonight. So let's go into our focus of the week. Here we go.
It's the Solar Sci-Fi Focus of the Week.
Right, so this week we are talking about a film which has had a remake in recent years with Keanu Reeves. The original one was actually made in 1951, and it is obviously an American science fiction film from 20th Century Fox, produced by Julian Brustein and directed by Robert Wise. And that is, of course, The Day the Earth Stood Still, which is set during the Cold War. And in many ways, this film is an educational piece about responsibility and where we're going as a people. And there's some interesting links to things in Star Trek with Earth going out to the stars in the future, or could be potentially a danger to other forms of life and things like that. It's just a very clever, memorable story. So, Martin, The Day the Earth Stood Still. Tell me what you think about it.
Go Klaatu Baradanixta.
Exactly. One of your favourites? Is it one?
One of the greatest science fiction films made of all time. Stands the test of time. Remakes, nothing compared to it.
I don't remember.
I did like the Keanu Reeves one. It wasn't bad.
Yeah, I didn't mind that one.
Not a hater of it.
I'm not a hater either. I thought it was actually quite a fair enough film.
Michael Rene, you're talking Michael Rene now. Originally, it was based on a short story.
Right.
in a pulp magazine. Yeah, it was back in the 50s. Like they had the science fiction. It were done in these like little pulp magazines. They were called cheap magazines.
Yeah.
And the story comes from that, and there was a twist with the story.
Okay. What was the twist?
They never went down that path. But
Ah.
the ending is slightly different. The story's it's the same premise basically, but guess who's the slave to the robot?
I
The
don't know.
robots run everything, not the humans.
Oh, so
Yeah.
it's this little turnaround to the way it actually stood out.
Yeah. And they didn't want to use that ending in the film because they didn't want to freak people out. That's why it went the way it did. But in the actual short story, and you can check this out on Wikipedia as well, because I've actually read the short story years ago.
Yeah.
It ends up the robots run everything, and to keep human aggression or, in check. I mean, they're not evil, but they keep the peace.
They're the ones that are sort of like, they're the ones that's in charge kind of thing.
Yeah,
of course,
and that's where it finishes, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, obviously in the movie, he's kind of like the robot is more sort of a servant to Michael Rennie's Klaatu kind of character.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's weird because there's not a great deal of sci-fi films in the 1950s that I always remember. The ones I remember, obviously, is this one, The War of the Worlds, and The Incredible Shrinking Man is one of my favorites as well.
Yeah.
There are a few, but this is definitely one of the earliest examples of a proper sci-fi concept film.
Yeah, because a lot of sci-fi in the 50s, it were bad, wasn't it?
There's a lot of cheese.
It's great entertainment. It were made for cheap cinemas.
Yeah.
Flea pits as they call. They show double bills of like invaders from Planet X, the wild women of Mars and stuff like that. They'd have these. I watched one a couple of years, The Wild Women of Wongo, where you got loads of good-looking women on an island stuck with a load of ugly men. But then on another island, you got loads of good-looking men and loads of ugly, loads of
hogs.
Well, basically, yeah. And they went to war with each other in this really cheesy film. They've all got Brill cream hair.
What the hell's this you're talking about?
It's called The Wild Women of Wongo. So the Wild Women of Wongo went to other island, and then it all came out at the end to solve it all.
Oh my god! This sounds like one to review. Yeah.
All the good-looking women moved to the island with all the good-looking men, and the not so good-looking people went back and lived in Wongo. Yeah, The Wild Women of Wongo. Honestly, this was made in 50s.
No, I've never heard of that one, but I'm certainly interested.
It's worth a look. I think it'd be shot down politically today, but it was the 1950s. You know. But that was the type of movies, wasn't it? You know. And then suddenly we got these like certain movies that come out like The Day the Earth Stood Still, which was probably I know you're a massive fan of War of the Worlds, the 50s one, but for me, them two movies are probably the best film. And This Island Earth as well.
This Island Earth's good. The Day the Earth Caught Fire is another good one as well.
They're probably, there's only about 5 or 6 films that are Forbidden Planet.
We've already reviewed that one. I was thinking about that.
But there's about 8 films in that entire decade that stand out.
Really stand out. Yeah, I mean,
as highly intelligent movies, which were the foundation stone for the decent science fiction to come.
Yeah.
The rest of it, I mean, it's entertaining. It's just, I've got some of it, and I can only watch so much of it. 'Cause it is bad. But stuff like them films just said.
Well, they still look good. They got a great message, and the music and the production values really. Like I said, I mean, you've already mentioned this, that War of the Worlds is probably my favourite 50s movie. Because it just works, and especially if you look at the newer versions where on the models they've wiped out the strings holding up the war machines and things like that, and they've done a few things just to produce some of the elements when it was made back in 1953.
Yeah,
and it just the sound effects, it's just so good.
Well, it's saying Day of the Earth stood still. The beauty of the Day of the Earth is so simple. Because the big effect
it is quite. Basically, it's a lot of it is actually it's a story with a message, which a lot of the 50s movies had. And of course, in the original one,
atomic war and all.
It was a parallel with the Cold War, the dangers of atomic energy and nuclear war and things like that. And that really, it was a message to people. It was a good concept, but it was basically warning people, which obviously most people should be aware anyway. But it was a story about obviously the dangers of atomic energy.
Well, there's all that. He's not the one who's been paranoid. He's not the one who's been paranoid.
Because of what humanity is doing. Humanity are now detonating really dangerous weapons. And they're worried about humanity going out into the stars and meeting people. Yeah,
because they're shooting stuff into space now.
Yeah, exactly. Satellites and all sorts of stuff. They're becoming a presence.
And the old film, I know she falls in love with him and all this, but she understands why he's there, and he said, I mean, the same where the stuff where we got, he said, if God's unleashed on this world, he'll strike, they've got nothing that can stop him. Yeah. And the robot looks exemplary in that movie. It just did. But it's the ending, because I mean, when he turns up, he says, I don't just want to meet your president. I want to meet everybody who's in charge of this planet. Not you. I don't care about your president. No. I want to meet everybody at the United Nations. But I've got a message.
The world collective. The world collective rather than one individual.
And then we go into his journey with that little boy where he bonds with him.
A boy, yes, exactly.
Like a father figure.
A father figure, yeah.
And there's a great scene where they go to Lincoln Memorial and they're reading the words, and he says they are beautiful words, and it's stuff like so simple, but the message is so true. And at the end, he just walks out of that ship and says, basically, look, we ain't got a problem with you, with your little puny tanks and but you're all doing it to us and we don't care. Yeah. But the minute you bring it out there,
that's when we've got a problem.
We'll do it, because he says to that professor, he tells that professor, he said, you mean such power exists where you can destroy a world? And he says, I've seen it being used. He says that to him, and he's terrified.
Yeah, because they've seen similar worlds where they've had to do the same thing because of that threat from another. Yeah, that's the thing.
And I do wonder if Star Trek got, I know, like Forbidden Planet, they took quite a lot.
Do you know what? When you mentioned that, I actually was going to say that I think that a part inspiration for Star Trek would have been from this movie as well as Forbidden Planet.
Well, that's the thing about that.
The Prime Directive, the Prime Directive definitely came from this.
Yeah. Well, you do your thing on your planet. We won't interfere with you. Whatever you do on your world is your business.
Yeah.
But the minute you bring it out there, we're going to be on your case.
And
it's not just us.
You can see this in so much of a Star Trek episode. Even like the United Federation of Planets, where there's a planet where they've just become
on the
more
verge.
Capable. And they've had this where we've had planets where they are now no longer have to be tied by the Prime Directive because they are now able to go into space, but they can be potentially dangerous. It has been done, but Forbidden Planet obviously was the original, and it did it so well.
It's like they've still just added that extra bit to Forbidden Planet, that extra message. Yeah. But it's a masterpiece of film. I bought it on Blu-ray a few years ago when they remastered it. I know it's in black and white, but
I don't mind black and white.
I was just blown away by it, even now. Because it's saying, and what's creepy about it at the end when he flies off, he says, "We'll all be watching." It's like basically, when you look up there, they're all watching. Everybody in all these other
surveillance, exactly. They just can't see that they're there.
And that's it. And there is another interesting thing.
What's that?
They were very careful on the religious aspect with this film. You know, when he died, and they put him in that regenerator thing to bring him back.
Yeah.
He says, "I'm only alive for a certain amount of time. Not even."
He's only got a limited time. Yeah, I remember that.
He says only the all-powerful spirit can. It's like the universe is the one that creates life, not us.
So that's a reference to God, isn't it? It's like
very clever. Because this was the 1950s you're talking about here. conservative
they had to
America.
they had to be a sort of bit careful about going too far there, and they
Yeah.
could have. I mean, it might have been interesting. They sort of like they would have done because I think it would have been made. But if they disputed at the time God and your religion, and sort of dismissed it, and they would have said that there is more of a universal entity which we know as the creator. They intimated it. They meant, but they didn't make it full blown. So it's there. They sort of snuck it in the back door to have this reference of religion in the movie. As you say, they did it in a very, very clever way, and I like that. I think that's very clever.
Yeah, definitely.
You know what I mean? I mean, because religion was definitely more prominent in those older movies. For the Bible.
Well, it was conservative America back then, wasn't it? In '50s and all that. It were. But I'm not like, it's how it was. It was like that.
It was like the end of War of the Worlds in '53.
Yeah,
he said, the end of that movie, he says that we have now got another reason to give thanks. And they say amen. And they're actually walking into a church at the end of that movie. Yeah. Because the Martians have been destroyed. So I'm saying that aspect of religion was definitely more forefront in that era of filmmaking.
Well, it was challenging the narrative, but through the
it was in a clever way. It was a
very clever way,
and I think a lot of people wouldn't even spotted it. And that's what what I'm glad that you picked up on that, because, as you say, a lot of people wouldn't even thought about that. But if you're in that mindset, you can see what they're doing. That's way ahead of its time. Way ahead of its time.
Decades.
Which is why.
Decades.
I mean, I won't go too much into it, but the remake with Keanu Reeves, it had a different message as well. I think, was that more to do with pollution and the actual?
Yeah, it was more environmental.
It had another message, but it was a different message.
It was sort of similar, wasn't it? But it was they were doing a bit of a Noah's Ark, though. They were taking stuff, weren't they, from Earth?
That's right. I haven't seen the remake for a long time, but yeah, it was slightly different.
And he said, we can save the planet. He said, you're the problem, but there ain't a lot of planets advanced like Earth, like a life-giving planet in the unit. He said it's a rare thing, and we have to step in now. And I found that was sort of interesting. Yeah,
it was a nice clever twist. Rather than the Cold War, it was more of a environmental message. So, like I said, both those films, it's a film with a message. And
I'm not a hater of the. I went to cinema to see it. I
don't mind the remake either. I think it's very good, actually.
I like God. I like the giant.
It was huge. It was really big, wasn't it? And then it was like a bloody Godzilla size or something.
Yeah.
And it has some good effects. I'm a big Keanu Reeves fan. Every film I've seen with him is really good. So, but obviously going back to the original, I mean, it's certainly a classic. I mean, do you think it could be remade again at some point, or maybe?
Would you? It'd be interesting. I actually thought about this once years ago. Like, it's where does it come from? Is it like a federation out there?
You maybe seen more of where it comes from and how the universal politics works and things like that.
I had this concept that sometimes, like some at B movies, it's like they're all in the same universe and
they're all linked together. You mean?
Yeah, and like the War of the Worlds, aliens is like they've had conflict with them before.
I think the ships in that film, they appeared in one of those other films. Like I think it was, I'm not sure, but the bottom of the ship, you see it and it's slightly different, but they reuse some of the things. And it's quite fun to think that they are somehow linked together, even though obviously
it'd make a great thing that there's like certain races want to conquer this planet, but Klaatu's lot step in.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean? If you could put it as like this sort of B movie universe, it'd be an interesting.
It will. I can see that. Happening.
Could a TV series work today?
That was my next question to you. I would certainly check it out. Again, it depends on the direction it goes. I mean, obviously, I don't know. It might work. It's kind of quite, like I said, the actual movie is quite self-contained. Although we're talking about options, I don't know. It might only work as a movie.
A lot of it, I think, if it were a TV, say a 10-part series, a lot of it would be set on Earth, wouldn't it? Him exploring.
It would be. I think it'd be more of a. I think it'd become a generic kind of alien on Earth, learning humanity. And that probably wouldn't be enough for it to be standing out as.
Because you don't really find out where he comes from. We know he's part of something big. and these robots patrol the spaceways and protect their
Well, the thing is,
territory
there are
or
so
their
many.
society.
There's
That's
so
what you've.
there are so many movies or TV shows where it is an alien on Earth, and it just sort of fizzles out.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, I think the prime example I'm thinking of for some reason is the remake of V, which had the ships all over the cities of Earth, and I think it was only cancelled after. I think it went 2 seasons, and I was a big fan of the original V.
Now,
But
what's the new one?
I didn't mind the new one, but it's kind of like, it's one of those things where sometimes it's better just to have one standalone movie or maybe a sequel, like Independence Day. That's very good. I mean, it had a remake of that. So it's a good movie. I mean, it's reading the actual notes here. Kenneth Kendall was in it. The newscaster it said BBC News presenter Kenneth Kendall appeared in this movie, and I couldn't remember that. So I think there must have been a scene where they're having reporters from around the world going on about it, and he made some sort of cameo thing, which I thought was pretty cool, actually. And go on.
The stock footage of the UFO was used in Twilight Zone.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was used in Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea as well.
Oh God.
You know where it's flying across Washington? That and the actual saucer was used in other stuff as well over the years.
Yeah, well, you get shows that remake. I mean, I know it's one show. Obviously, it's a show I love, and you're not a big fan of. Was the Incredible Hulk, and
I love the Hulk. I love the Hulk.
That took footage from Earthquake, and it also took a lot of footage. Oh dear! That took footage from Jewel from Steven Spielberg from 1971. So you do get these TV shows that rip off special effects footage from the old films to save money, and so it's hardly surprising that, say, the Twilight Zone would take stuff from this movie and make it into the actual episode of what they were doing, because obviously it's aliens and UFOs and stuff. So yeah, it's certainly a good film. I think it's certainly unique. I like the remake, but I don't think it would potentially work as a TV series. I think it would be a 1 season, and it would just fizzle out. Personally, it's a shame. I don't know why, but
because it'd be him just being on Earth, wouldn't it, investigating?
Most TV adaptations from movies don't work.
No.
I don't know why they don't work, but they just.
Well, I found out there was a TV. Do you remember Starman with Jeff Bridges?
Yes, I do.
There was a TV series for that, and I've only seen 1 or 2 episodes. They made about 8 episodes. Got cancelled. Absolute crap.
Well,
he comes back 20 years later for his teenage son.
I only saw the Logan's Run TV adaptation recently. We featured it, and I thought that was quite good.
I love that.
It does. They do something as well, and that got cancelled as well. So just because a show gets cancelled doesn't necessarily mean it's not a good show. It's just sometimes it just doesn't get the ratings.
That's true.
So again, it's very hit and miss. But yeah, it's a very good movie. I certainly enjoyed it. Any other comments about this movie? Anything else?
There is one thing I'd like to do.
Go for it. What's that?
I'd like to modulate my voice.
Yeah. Okay.
And say it. Klaatu Barada Nikto.
Very good. Okay, that was it. I might add a bit of reverb my end. You had a bit of reverb, but you sounded slightly alien. Do you want to try it one more time? Go on, one more time.
Oh, for God's sake.
Go on. The audio, the listeners, they want to hear. Go for it.
Okay, right.
Go.
Hello. God! Klaatu Barada Nikto.
I could mix that into the intro of this week's episode. You might see that beginning when I edit it later on. So, great movie though. Glad you enjoyed it. And like I said, it's one we needed to feature on. It's certainly a graphics film. And if you've not seen it, where have you been? If you're into sci-fi, you should have seen it at some point. So well done to everybody involved with the production and how it helped shape modern sci-fi. On that note then, obviously we're going to wrap up things quite soon, but did you want to talk about Prey, the new Predator prequel, which I saw just a few days ago? I've seen it twice now already, actually. What did you think of it?
Well, I just thank you, but it's
okay.
it appeared on my screen, and
Right.
I watched it, and by magic, and
Yes.
we've done a lot of Predator battles on this channel.
Yes, I was wondering. This is why I wanted to talk,
As-
especially with your background video. Your
Yes, we've had Jimmy Corkle, Pat Butcher, Captain Kirk, a Jedi Master, even Mr. I dare to say it, Mr. Motivator,
Oh,
and I'm going to say even the fucking 70s Hulk had a go at
Yes,
it, you know?
did. Yeah, none did too well today. And Arnold Rimmel with his curry as well. He beat him with his curry.
Yes.
So what do you think?
I fucking loved it, man.
Did you?
Right, this is, I loved it. I'm going to tell you why. Right, when this, I'm not going to name names, but there's certain, commentators of sci-fi commentators, when they showed the trailer, I'm not going to, you know, I'm on about these people.
Yeah, go on.
They showed the trailer and straight away they attacked it. Oh, it's a feminist movie and it's loads of like foreign guys killing Indians and all that, and we're getting stereotyped. That's all it was when that trailer come out. Now you and I were a bit suspicious about it, you know, when it was set, but we sat on the fence.
Yeah.
And we waited till we saw it. Now there were a lot of people coming out of it, and this were on a 1 minute fucking trailer, right? Condemned it.
Mm-hmm.
And I've not, and I saw the reviews, and everybody's praised this fucking film.
I've not checked out the reviews. Is it? I mean, I liked it.
It's gone down well. It's gone down.
It's funny
well.
actually.
I was thoroughly impressed with it.
My son, who's 14, he watched it and he likes the original Predator, and he's well aware of, obviously. I'm not saying it about this film, but obviously there are often motivations, feminist motivations, political correctness, and stuff like that. He said, though, he said that he did partly think it was to be partly promoting a woman's right, the woman as the warrior kind of thing. I don't necessarily agree with that.
No, I don't.
I can see his perspective, but I like, you think of in the 80s you had Ripley, who's a prime example of a strong female character who came up against the xenomorphs. So I don't agree with that. I can see where he's coming from because he's aware of things.
Of course.
And that's a fair enough observation, but this was not. It was a very clever. I mean, did you notice it's not a flintlock, but the gun he had at the end of that was the same gun that you see at the end of Predator 2. I don't know if you noticed that. Now I don't know how it's linked together. So that was a nice link. One thing I wanted to ask, which you might know about, was that the Predator's face was different from normal Predators. Was that the type of... There was a taller Predator in I think, The Predator. There was one with two Predators. And I wondered whether there's a different race.
Types of them,
I don't know whether it's like a different sort of race of a Predator.
I don't know. I mean, it would certainly have no
slightly
laser
different.
guns.
Yeah.
They call it the feral predator. That's what it's called.
That's what I'm thinking of. There was a different term for it. So whether it was one of that tribe
it's a feral predator. I know it's called that. Now, the race is called the Yautja. That's what they're meant to be called, the Yautja.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah, if you read it, they're called the Yautja. They're ancient, but I assume, like, we got the standard Predator in Predator 1 and 2.
Yeah.
And then Predator 3, where we got a different one, and then Predator 4.
Predator 3 was the Predator, wasn't it? And Predator 4 was Predators.
Yeah, that was Royce.
Predator 4, the most recent one, or not the one we're talking about now, the one before, that was shite.
Yeah.
But the one, the Predator.
But they had that other Predator.
That's what I was wondering if it was the same as that one. I can't remember now. I've not seen the Predator for a long time.
And there were all that, and so I shown. Well, what I think there's probably different tribes, because from what we're saying, it's because when they were on that planet in the third one, there were that predator tied up, so there were like other predators like doing it.
I'm going to watch the third one again now. So now I've seen this one, just because I've not seen it. I did like it, but it's been a long time since I've seen the third one. But I thought
it stands out. It's a good film. I like the third one.
Yeah.
To be honest, I thought it was quite good. I think that we all knew it were on another planet, so that spoiler, and so we knew that. But there were like another predator tied up against the tree, so there were this like other predator like
they were taken from Earth and put in another jungle planet.
Yeah, but I assume there's different predator tribes where they
different, like you obviously get different races of humans on Earth, so it might be it's a similar thing. So
that's what I assume.
So it's a shame. I mean, people are saying, why was this not released in the cinema? This is why, obviously, you can find it online quicker. I certainly would have enjoyed it if I went to see it in the cinema. I think it's definitely should have been given a shot. Apparently, it had a lot of COVID restrictions at the end credits. There's lots of stuff going on about COVID, but of course, a lot of it's filmed outside, so they could still make the movie because it's not too much of a
I thought the cinematography was spectacular.
I think it's great. I just like everything about it. I like the fact that some of the elements of this Predator were more primitive because it's 300 years ago. The laser sight, it doesn't fire a jolt. It is like a harpoon thing, or it's like sort of like. And that, I like this break and the invisibility cloak. Try saying that. It was slightly more primitive in certain scenes. It was like there was some nice canon and nice continuity elements which I liked, which obviously, because it is a prequel to the original Predator. So yeah, if you haven't seen it, it is obviously available from various places to check out.
I found it's. I liked going into her tribe. I found that interesting.
Yeah, I thought the tribe interesting.
And then you got the French frontiersmen that turned up.
They were frontier. Yeah,
they were after fur skins, which there would have been at that time.
Yeah,
and this thing was slaughtering everything. I like the references, like when the snake got the mouse, and then the predator killed the snake. I liked all that. I liked it when he had that fight with that grizzly bear.
Mm-hmm.
But then people are going to question the battle scene at the end. But the predator did get damaged. But I love the scene where the frontiersmen tried ambushing it. Sorry, what did you say?
I was going to say he lost an arm at one point near the end.
I didn't realise that.
Yeah, I know.
I was watching it.
It wasn't that clear. He lost an arm, but the actual scene when he lost it, it wasn't that cler that he lost the arm. Yes, he did.
I thought his arm.
I didn't see that. I didn't see that until it was after.
No, I didn't. I did. I thought, he's lost his arm.
Yeah.
And it was interesting because when they were all there with muskets. He were at back of them, killing them all on horses, and I couldn't stop them. But there were loads of them frontiersmen. There were loads of them, weren't there?
Yeah.
Because I thought he killed them all, and then they all came out of the ground.
Although he didn't really, the one I saw didn't have actually text or what they were saying. I mean, I know they were French, but I don't think you were supposed to actually really understand what they were saying. It was just obviously, but that was fine. And obviously, she was a Native American, but they translated it.
Yeah, but she was. You say that a brother, he did a lot of damage when he was on the horse.
Yeah,
he did a load of damage to it before she came in for kill. Because it was like, what were interesting, she were really clever because she figured out when its helmet come off. It had a weird helmet.
We've not seen one like that before. Yeah, it was creepy looking. Very different.
She worked out that it targeted things through that, and she worked out if she stands by a fire, it can't see her. And stuff, which she were clever. And how she defeated it. Now, some people are going to say, well, you can't do that. But I found she were very clever. She used stealth against it. And she took it out. It was brilliant when she used its own mask. Its targeting system focused on him.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
and it took its head out.
Yeah,
because it got damaged when that musket.
Spoilers, by the way, if you haven't seen it. Spoilers. A bit late now, but spoilers.
But when that musket, when she blew that musket into the back of its head, she shot it straight into his head. So that'll have done damage. It lost its. All right, it defeated all them people, but they did damage it. If it had been a modern predator, they wouldn't have stood a chance. They wouldn't. But this was like a feral predator.
Yeah.
I liked its shield device it had. The shield that.
Yeah. The thing sort of goes round circle thing. Yeah, I thought that was quite clever, and it's a little bit more primitive.
That's right.
Very clever way that they made him futuristic but more primitive compared to what we know of him in the 1980s when we see the other Predator. So well worth watching. Obviously, you've got a few spoilers if you have yet to see it, but I think it's definitely worth a watch. And well done for everybody involved. It's nice to see that at least the Predator. That's another series which I think potentially could be made into some sort of TV series. I'm surprised they haven't done with the Predator series yet. I think that if you have the Terminator series, there's going to be an Alien TV series, I think.
Yeah, that's
well, I've
coming
not
this
heard
year.
anything about that for ages.
No, but I think that's coming this year.
So I reckon the Predator series could come along at some point. I don't know how they
And
can do it.
This never got released at the cinema then?
No, it's on Hulu. I think it's on Hulu. So, but it didn't feel like a TV movie, if that's the right term. That's more
I thought it was a full-scale budget movie.
And apparently it wasn't released. Yeah, and this is why I think it's on Hulu. I don't know. Some things that Bill and Ted was saying. Bill and Ted Face the Music. That wasn't in the cinema, and that's a Bill and Ted movie.
Oh, right.
And it's strange that some things do and some things don't. But it might be indicative that cinema is becoming less prominent now, and people have got good sound systems, big screens, and they don't want people coughing and spluttering and eating popcorn next year. We said this before that. I love cinema, but I've not been to cinema since before COVID.
Nah, so Elvis.
Oh yeah, I remember. I think you quite like that. I think you posted on your page.
I do recommend it. Yeah.
Oh, before we go, very quickly, that Elvis comedy. Bubba, what was it? Bubba, whatever it is.
Bubba Hotep.
Oh, God. I did put a few links. I thought that was the biggest pile of shite I've seen all year. It was terrible.
It's a cult movie,
I thought it was shite.
Surprised I thought you'd have been into that. I'm really surprised by that.
It's just really weird, and then suddenly there's a mummy, and suddenly I just didn't click with it at all. I just don't know why.
Okay, no, fair enough.
I just thought it was shite.
But
I know I'm in the mind. No, a lot of people did. I mean, I normally when I review and like things, it's normally with the majority feel the same. But whatever it was, it just didn't work for me. I don't know why. I mean, I might try and give it a rewatch at some point, but I just didn't click with it at all. So there we go. So if you like Elvis, it sounds like to me the best option is to see the new Elvis and not this Bubba dead Elvis, aged Elvis thing. So there we go. Right, I think as we've talked about it, and we haven't played it for ages, I think hopefully we'll be able to play it on our channels. Shall we have Predator the musical again? We haven't had that for a while.
Yeah, go on.
All right, Martin. So next week, I wouldn't mind doing, if it's okay with you, we haven't done one for ages, a Doctor Who episode. I thought we could do the Paul McGann TV movie. We haven't done that one yet.
No, we haven't covered his doctorship yet as well.
That's what which one? Yeah, so I'd say, yeah. It's a good TV movie, and I'd like to get your perspective on it because it was quite big when it came out.
Yeah,
and it's always nice to go back to Doctor Who, especially as the future of it is not looking too bright, at least from the way I see it. So let's delve into 90s Doctor Who and see what you think about this American, Canadian, British co-production thing that they made. See what you think about it. Martin, thank you very much. We'll be back next week on the Solar One Sci-Fi podcast. Live long and prosper.
Live long and prosper.
It's using the trees, watching and waiting, killing us off one by one. The chopper is close, but this thing is too fast. We won't make it, it's pointless to run. Talk, no more games.
I don't know what it was. The jungle came alive.
Go on.
It happened very fast. Not easy to describe, but you must have wounded it, unless my eyes deceive. When the big man was killed, its blood was on the leaves.
If it bleeds, we can kill it. She discovered the key. There is proof we can wound it. So repeat after me. If it bleeds, we can kill it.
If it bleeds, we can kill it.
Yeah, now take a stand.
Here now, take a stand.
We can bring down this beast.
We can bring down this beast.
If we stick to the plan. If it bleeds, we can kill it.
Something's out there.
If it bleeds, we can kill it.
Waiting for us. 2 or 3 men out there at the most. Am I the only one who's awake? I don't believe in goblins or ghosts. Fucking lizard, give me a break.
If it bleeds, we can kill it.
An expendable asset.
Yeah, now take a stand.
I won't up, why don't you?
So instead of complaining,
bullshit's not gonna
you should
work.
give us a hand.
I got nothing better to do.
I saw it. saw it, goddammit, those eyes, they disappeared. It cut down my friend and it ran while I emptied that gun.
If it bleeds, we can kill it.
I saw it, goddammit.
Stop shaving, you don't have a beard.
That thing will come back, and when it does, I'm gonna have me some fun.
If it bleeds,
I'm gonna have me some fun.
If it bleeds, if it bleeds.
if it bleeds, we can kill it.
If it bleeds, we can kill
We
it.
can pull out the wind,
We can pull out a wind.
set a trap for the monster,
Set a trap for the monster.
while we still have our skin.
While we still have our skin.
If it bleeds, we can kill
With
it.
3 men out there.
I believe it can
I'm the
fall.
only one who's awake.
When you're feeling downhearted, just remember the call. If it bleeds, we can kill it. If it bleeds, I can kill it. Now it's all up to me. Mud all over my body, so the bastard can't see. It's a solo campaign now. Get revenge for my men. Hawkins, Mac, and Ramirez.
If it bleeds, you can kill it.
Billy Dillon and Blair.